You arrive at the harbor just before sunrise. The docks are already crowded with merchants, sailors, and workers preparing for a long voyage across unknown seas. Barrels, ropes, and wooden crates are carried aboard the ship. Every supply matters because once the vessel leaves shore, there will be no easy way to replace anything. Families gather for emotional farewells. Some sailors smile bravely, while others quietly wonder if they will ever see home again. The captain studies maps and voyage plans. Around him, officers carefully inspect food, tools, and equipment needed for the journey. You step onto the ship for the first time. The wooden deck creaks beneath your feet, and the smell of tar and salt fills the air. Looking around, you realize how little space exists on board. Cargo fills every corner, leaving almost no room for comfort. An experienced sailor notices your nervous expression and offers a friendly smile. He has made this journey before and knows what awaits. The ship's bell rings loudly across the harbor. Crew members rush to their stations as preparations for departure reach their final moments. The ropes are released, and the sails catch the wind. Slowly, the ship begins to move away from the familiar shoreline. You watch the harbor disappear into the distance. Ahead lies only the open ocean, endless horizons, and the uncertainty of the voyage to come. The endless ocean now surrounds you on every side. The familiar shoreline has vanished completely, replaced by rolling waves and distant horizons. Seabirds circle high above the ship. Sailors watch them carefully, hoping they might be signs of nearby land. The crew settles into daily routines. Ropes are checked, sails are repaired, and every sailor learns their responsibilities aboard the vessel. A sailor climbs high into the rigging, balancing carefully above the deck while strong winds pull at the sails. Below deck, supplies are organized and inspected. Every barrel of food and fresh water becomes increasingly valuable. As the voyage continues, the ship moves steadily across calm waters. For a brief moment, life at sea feels peaceful and almost comfortable. As the afternoon passes, sailors gather together to share stories of distant lands, strange creatures, and famous explorers. The sun begins to set across the open ocean. Golden light spreads over the waves as the ship continues its journey westward. Darkness slowly arrives. Lanterns glow across the deck while crew members finish their duties before the night watch begins. Beneath a sky filled with countless stars, the ship sails deeper into unknown waters, carrying its crew toward adventures and hardships yet to come. Morning arrives with cool sea air and pale sunlight spreading across the deck. Sailors wake early and prepare for another long day at sea. The ship's cook serves a simple breakfast of hard biscuits and salted food. Nobody complains, because this meal will be repeated many times during the voyage.
Crew members inspect barrels of fresh water carefully. Every drop is precious when the nearest river may be thousands of miles away. A navigator studies worn maps and handwritten charts. searching for clues that might guide the ship safely across unfamiliar waters. Sailors gather around the navigator, listening as he explains the planned route through vast stretches of open ocean. High above the deck, a lookout scans the horizon from the crow's nest. The endless sea offers little to see except clouds and waves. As the day grows warmer, sailors repair damaged ropes and worn sails. Constant maintenance is necessary to keep the ship moving. A gentle wind fills the sails and pushes the vessel forward. For now, the weather remains calm and cooperative. During a quiet moment, sailors sit together near cargo barrels and exchange stories about home, family, and distant ports. Evening returns once again. The sun sinks below the horizon while the ship continues. Steadily into the unknown, a new day begins. Beneath clear skies, the ship continues its journey across the ocean, carried forward by steady winds and the determination of its crew. Sailors gather for another simple meal. Hard biscuits and salted meat may not be exciting, but they provide the energy needed for long hours of work. The navigator carefully examines the sun's position in the sky. Every observation helps estimate the ship's location. In a world without modern maps, far below deck, barrels and crates shift gently with the movement of the sea. Crew members secure supplies to prevent damage during rough weather. A lookout peers across the horizon once again. Day after day, sailors search for signs of land, ships, or anything that breaks the endless view of water. The wind begins to strengthen. Sails stretch tightly as crew. Members adjust ropes and prepare the vessel for changing conditions. Dark clouds slowly gather in the distance. Experienced sailors notice them immediately and exchange concerned glances. Across the deck, the sea grows rougher as waves become larger and more unpredictable. What began as a peaceful day now feels far less certain. Officers move quickly across the ship, giving instructions and ensuring everything is secured before the weather worsens. As evening approaches, the crew watches the approaching storm on the horizon. The calm days behind them are beginning to fade. The storm finally arrives. Powerful winds sweep across the deck as dark clouds cover the sky and waves crash against the ship. Sailors rush to secure ropes and sails. Every crew member knows that even a small mistake during a storm can have serious consequences. Rain pours from the heavens, soaking the deck and making every surface slippery and dangerous beneath their feet. Massive waves lift the ship high into the air before dropping it back into deep valleys of water. The ocean shows its true strength. Below deck, barrels creak and supplies shift while exhausted sailors struggle to keep their balance in the darkness. Lightning flashes across the distant horizon, briefly illuminating the towering sails and frightened faces of the crew. The captain stands firmly at his post, shouting orders through the wind as the ship battles the relentless storm. Hour after hour, the crew works without rest. Cold rain, strong winds, and exhaustion test everyone aboard the vessel. Slowly, the storm begins to weaken. The waves remain rough, but the worst of the danger appears to be passing. As dawn breaks, the clouds begin to part. The battered ship survives another challenge and continues its long voyage across the sea. The morning after the storm feels strangely quiet. Gentle waves replace the chaos of the night, and the crew begins assessing the damage. Sailors inspect torn sails, damaged ropes, and cracked wooden planks. Repairs must begin immediately before the next challenge arrives. Some crew members climb the rigging once again, carefully replacing ropes and securing parts of the ship weakened by the storm. Below deck, water is cleared from flooded areas while supplies are checked to make sure nothing important has been lost. The captain reviews reports from his officers. Although the vessel survived, the voyage has become more difficult than before as the day continues. The ocean returns to a calm and peaceful state. The storm already feels like a distant memory. Sailors take advantage of the calm weather to dry clothing, repair equipment, and catch up on much-needed rest. A few crew members gather near the railing, watching dolphins leap through the waves beside the ship. For a brief moment, laughter returns to the deck. Small moments of joy help sailors endure the hardships of life at sea. The sun shines brightly overhead while the ship continues steadily across open waters toward distant destinations. Days begin blending together. Each sunrise feels similar to the last, and time becomes difficult to measure aboard the vessel. Meals remain simple and repetitive. Hard biscuits, salted meat, and stored water continue to form the foundation of daily life. The navigator spends hours studying charts and recording observations. Every detail may prove important later in the journey. High above, the lookout scans the horizon once again. Finding land would be welcome news after so many days at sea. Crew members perform routine maintenance throughout the ship, tightening ropes and inspecting sails for signs of wear. A cool evening breeze sweeps across the deck as the sun slowly begins its descent toward the horizon. Sailors gather together after work, sharing stories of home and imagining the lands they hope to visit. The sky turns brilliant shades of gold and orange while seabirds glide across the fading light of sunset. Darkness returns to the ocean. Lanterns flicker softly while the crew prepares for another quiet night aboard the ship. Beneath the stars, the vessel sails onward through endless waters, carrying its crew deeper into the unknown world ahead. Another week passes at sea. The endless horizon remains unchanged, and many sailors begin to feel the weight of isolation. The ship moves steadily through calm waters while the crew follows the same routines they have repeated for countless days. Food supplies continue to shrink. Officers carefully monitor every barrel and ration to ensure the voyage can continue safely. Sailors line up for their daily meal, receiving simple portions that must last until the next opportunity to resupply. A navigator studies weather patterns and cloud formations. Hoping to avoid dangerous storms hidden beyond the horizon, strong winds return, filling the sails and pushing the vessel across the sea at a faster pace. The crew works together to adjust rigging and maintain control as changing conditions test their skills. During a quiet afternoon, sailors gather near the railing and watch flying fish leap across the surface of the water. Stories and rumors spread across the ship. Some speak of distant kingdoms, while others imagine treasures waiting beyond the sea. As sunset approaches, the ocean glows with golden light and the ship casts long shadows across the waves. Night falls peacefully, lanterns sway gently with the motion of the ship, while crew members prepare for another watch. The stars shine brightly overhead, helping navigators determine their course through the darkness. Days continue blending together. The routine of sailing, eating, working, and sleeping rarely changes. A sailor quietly writes notes about the voyage, recording experiences that may one day become stories shared on land. Early one morning, excitement spreads across the deck as the lookout believes he has spotted something in the distance. Crew members rush to the railings, staring toward the horizon and hoping the sight might be land. As the object becomes clearer, anticipation grows throughout the ship. Even the captain watches carefully. Disappointment soon follows when the distant shape proves to be nothing more than clouds rising. Above the sea, the crew returns to work, reminded that false hopes are a common part of life on long voyages. Despite setbacks, the ship continues forward. Every mile brings the sailors closer to destinations, still hidden beyond the horizon. The weather remains favorable. allowing repairs and maintenance to continue without interruption. Sailors inspect sails, ropes, and masts once again, knowing that preparation is essential for survival. Below deck, supplies are reorganized and counted. Careful planning helps prevent shortages later in the voyage. The captain studies maps late into the evening, considering possible routes and future challenges. A cool breeze drifts across the deck while the crew enjoys a rare moment of relaxation after a long day. Seabirds appear once again, sparking conversations about whether land might finally be drawing near. The ocean remains calm beneath a sky painted with brilliant colors, as the sun slowly disappears. Darkness settles gently across the water while lantern light creates warm reflections along the wooden deck. The ship sails silently through the night, guided by stars and the experience of its navigators. Another chapter of the voyage comes to an end. But the greatest challenges and discoveries may still lie ahead. Weeks have now turned into months. The vast ocean still surrounds the ship, and the crew continues pushing forward toward destinations few of them have ever seen. Life aboard the vessel follows a familiar rhythm. Each day begins with work, continues with responsibility, and ends beneath the stars. Supplies grow more limited with every passing week. Officers carefully calculate rations to make sure everyone receives their share. Sailors gather around food barrels as simple meals are distributed. Hunger has become a constant companion on the voyage. The navigator studies charts once again, comparing observations made over many weeks at sea. Strong currents pull against the ship while sailors work together to maintain their planned course. High in the rigging, a lookout watches the horizon with renewed determination. Despite countless days without success, the weather remains favorable, allowing the crew to repair equipment and strengthen worn sections of the vessel. During a quiet afternoon, sailors speak about home. Some wonder how much has changed since they left. The setting sun paints the ocean with shades of gold, orange, and crimson as another day slowly comes to an end. Night returns, bringing cooler air and a peaceful silence broken only by waves against the hull. Navigators use the stars above to guide the vessel through darkness, relying on knowledge passed down through generations. One morning, seabirds appear in greater numbers than usual. Excitement spreads quickly across the deck. Sailors point toward the sky and discuss whether the birds might indicate nearby land. The captain orders extra attention to the horizon as anticipation begins growing among the crew throughout the day. Hopeful eyes search the distance for any sign that their long journey may finally be changing. As evening approaches, a faint shape appears far beyond the waves. The crew gathers together, straining to see whether the distant shadow is real or another false alarm. Slowly, the outline becomes clearer. Excitement grows with every passing moment. Cheers spread across the deck as sailors realize they may finally be looking at land. The sight lifts spirits throughout the ship. Weeks of hardships suddenly feel worthwhile as the vessel moves closer. Details begin to emerge along the distant coastline. Sailors rush to complete preparations for arrival after spending so much time isolated at sea. The captain studies the approaching shore carefully, considering safe routes and potential dangers. With land now visible ahead, the voyage enters a new chapter filled with opportunity, uncertainty, and discovery. The coastline grows clearer with every passing hour. Forests, hills, and unfamiliar landscapes begin to replace the endless view of open water. Sailors crowd along the railings, eager to catch their first proper glimpse of the land that has inspired so much hope. The captain orders careful navigation as the ship approaches unknown shores where hidden reefs and shallow waters may pose dangers. Smaller boats are prepared while officers study the coastline and search for a safe place to land. Excitement spreads throughout the crew. After months at sea, the thought of standing on solid ground feels almost unreal. The ship slowly enters calmer coastal waters. Gentle waves replace the powerful swells of the open ocean. Sailors point toward distant beaches and forests, wondering what people, animals, and resources might exist beyond the shoreline. Anchors are prepared as the vessel reaches a suitable location near the coast. The crew works together one final time, lowering equipment and making preparations for exploration. Small boats carry the first groups toward shore while the larger vessel remains anchored offshore. For the first time in many months, sailors step onto solid ground and feel the earth beneath their feet. Some crew members kneel to touch the sand while others simply stand quietly, appreciating the end of a difficult voyage. Explorers begin surveying the surrounding landscape, carefully observing rivers, forests, and distant hills. Strange plants and unfamiliar wildlife attract immediate attention from the curious crew. The captain records observations in a journal, documenting the discoveries made during the expedition. Temporary camps are established near the shoreline. As supplies are unloaded from boats, sailors enjoy fresh food and clean water, after relying on limited shipboard provisions for so long. As evening approaches, campfires glow along the coast while the exploration ship rests quietly offshore. Crew members share stories about the journey, remembering storms, hardships, and moments of hope that carried them across the ocean. The setting sun casts golden light across both the camp and the anchored vessel beyond the shore. Night falls peacefully over the newly discovered coastline, bringing a rare sense of comfort and accomplishment. Beneath the stars, sailors reflect on how far they have traveled from the homes they left behind months earlier. The voyage may be ending, but new challenges and discoveries are only beginning on this unfamiliar land. The crew rests peacefully, knowing they have survived one of the greatest challenges of their lives. As dawn approaches once more, a new chapter begins. The long ocean voyage is over, but the story of exploration continues. The morning sun rises over the coastal camp. After months at sea, waking up on solid ground still feels unusual to many sailors. Crew members gather fresh water from a nearby stream, grateful to leave behind the carefully rationed supplies carried aboard the ship. Explorers move deeper inland, carefully observing unfamiliar plants, trees, and landscapes unlike anything they have seen before. The captain and his officers record detailed notes about the coastline, hoping their observations will help future voyages. Sailors construct simple shelters using wood, rope, and canvas brought from the ship. Small groups survey the surrounding area, searching for resources that might support a longer stay. Strange birds fill the air with unfamiliar calls, reminding everyone how far they have traveled from home. Explorers discover new paths through forests and hills, each step revealing more of the unknown land. Back at camp, sailors repair clothing, sharpen tools, and enjoy a brief break from the hardships of ocean travel. As the afternoon sun shines overhead, the coastline appears peaceful and full of promise. The crew gathers around maps and journals, discussing what they have learned during their first days ashore. Some sailors reflect on the storms, hunger, and uncertainty they endured during the long crossing. Others dream about the discoveries that may still await beyond the horizon. The captain updates his records, documenting both the voyage and the newly explored territory. As evening approaches, fishing boats return with fresh catches from the nearby waters. A warm meal is prepared, providing a welcome change from months of hard biscuits and salted provisions. Laughter and conversation fill the camp as spirits remain high after the successful voyage. The setting sun bathes the coastline in golden light while the anchored ship rests peacefully offshore. darkness slowly settles across the camp, and lanterns begin glowing among the tents and shelters. Sailors share stories around campfires, remembering both the dangers and wonders of their journey above them. The same stars that guided the ship across the ocean now shine over unfamiliar land. The crew enjoys a rare sense of security after so many months of uncertainty at sea. Gentle waves lap against the shoreline, while a cool night breeze drifts through the camp. One by one, the sailors retire for the night, knowing new adventures await tomorrow. The camp grows quiet beneath the stars, bringing a peaceful close to another chapter of exploration. Dawn breaks gently over the camp. The sailors wake to the sound of waves and seabirds rather than the creaking timbers of a ship. Explorers prepare for another day of discovery, gathering maps, journals, and supplies before heading inland. Small groups travel beyond the coastline, eager to learn more about the rivers, forests, and hills that surround them. The landscape reveals new surprises at every turn, from unusual plants to animals never seen by the crew before. Back at camp, sailors continue, repairing equipment and maintaining the vessel that carried them across the ocean. The captain reviews reports from his officers, carefully organizing information about the voyage and the new land. Fresh food and clean water help restore the crews, strength after months of difficult conditions at sea. Some sailors climb nearby hills to gain a better view of the surrounding coastline and distant horizons from above. The vast landscape stretches in every direction, offering endless possibilities for exploration. As the afternoon continues, the crew grows more confident in their unfamiliar surroundings. The ship remains anchored offshore, a reminder of the long journey that brought everyone here. Sailors share stories with one another, comparing their first impressions of this distant place. The setting sun casts long shadows across the camp, while warm golden light reflects off the water. Evening meals bring the crew together once again after a busy day of exploration and work. Laughter and conversation drift through the camp as the sailors enjoy a rare sense of peace. Lanterns begin to glow as darkness slowly settles over the coastline. The stars emerge one by one, shining brightly above the sea and the sleeping vessel offshore. Around the campfires, sailors reflect on how far they have traveled from the familiar world they once knew. The hardships of storms, hunger, and uncertainty now feel more distant with each passing day. Yet everyone understands that exploration is never truly finished. New challenges always wait beyond the next horizon. A cool breeze drifts through the camp while waves roll gently onto the shore. One by one, the campfires fade and the voices of the crew grow quiet. The coastline rests peacefully beneath the moonlight, calm and undisturbed. The sailors settle into sleep, grateful for the safety they have found after such a long voyage. As a new dawn approaches, the story of exploration continues, carrying the crew toward adventures that remain unwritten. The first light of dawn spreads across the coastline as the camp slowly comes to life. Sailors gather supplies and set out into forests, hills, and valleys in search of new discoveries. They follow streams, study unfamiliar plants, record observations, and map the landscape around them. From high ridges, they can see the distant coastline and the ship anchored offshore, a reminder of the long voyage that brought them here. As the day passes, journals fill with notes and sketches while the camp continues to grow and improve. By evening, the explorers return to the shore, sharing stories around campfires and enjoying fresh meals together. Lanterns glow warmly as the sky darkens and the stars begin to appear overhead. The hardships of the ocean crossing feel far away now, replaced by the excitement of discovery and the comfort of solid ground. One by one, conversations fade. Campfires burn low, and the coastline settles into peaceful silence beneath the moonlit sky. Tomorrow will bring new adventures. But tonight the expedition rests, the dawn rises, gently over the coastal camp as sailors prepare for another day of exploration. Maps are studied, routes are planned, and small groups head inland through forests, rivers, and rolling hills. Strange plants, distant valleys, and breathtaking views fill their journals with new observations. The ship anchored offshore remains a constant reminder of the difficult voyage that brought them here. Throughout the day, discoveries are recorded, landmarks are mapped, and supplies are gathered. By evening, the explorers return to camp where stories are shared around warm meals and glowing campfires as the sun sets. The ocean shines with golden light before darkness settles across the coastline. Lanterns glow softly, stars appear overhead, and the same constellations that guided the voyage continue watching over the camp. The waves roll gently onto the shore as the crew reflects on the adventures behind them and the mysteries still waiting ahead beneath the moonlit sky. The explorers drift into sleep, ending another peaceful chapter in their long journey of discovery. The morning mist drifts across the coastline as the camp awakens to another day of discovery. Sailors gather supplies, study maps, and set out into forests, valleys, and hills beyond the shore. Along the way they sketch landscapes, record observations, and mark important landmarks for future travelers. Streams, unusual rock formations, and sweeping views provide new opportunities for exploration while journals continue filling with valuable information. Back at camp, sailors repair equipment, organize supplies, and maintain the ship that carried them across the ocean. As evening approaches, exploration parties return with fresh stories and discoveries. Maps are updated, notes are compared, and excitement spreads throughout the camp. The setting sun fills the sky with brilliant colors before darkness settles. Across the coast, lanterns glow softly, campfires crackle, and sailors share memories beneath the stars. The ship rests peacefully offshore while the crew reflects on their remarkable journey. One by one, they settle into sleep, ending another peaceful day in the age of exploration. The morning sun rises over the coastline as explorers prepare for another journey inland. They travel through forests, rivers, and hills, recording observations and mapping the land around them. From high ridges they admire sweeping views of the ocean and the ship, anchored far below throughout the day. Journals fill with notes while maps grow increasingly detailed. Back at camp, sailors repair equipment, organize supplies, and strengthen shelters. As evening arrives, exploration parties return with new stories and discoveries. Warm meals, glowing campfires, and shared laughter bring comfort after a long day. The stars emerge overhead while waves roll gently onto the shore. One by one, the sailors drift off to sleep, ending another chapter in their remarkable journey of exploration. The camp awakens beneath the golden sunrise as another day of discovery begins. Explorers gather supplies, follow rivers and forest trails, and venture into landscapes they have never seen before. From rolling hills and open meadows, they study the land, sketch important landmarks, and update their maps. Strange rock formations, colorful flowers, and distant valleys provide endless opportunities for observation. By afternoon, the explorers return to camp, where sailors continue maintaining equipment and preparing for future journeys. Stories of discovery spread quickly while maps and journals grow more detailed. As evening arrives, warm meals, glowing campfires, and peaceful conversations bring comfort to the crew. The stars shine overhead, waves roll gently onto the shore, and the ship rests quietly offshore. One by one, the sailors drift into sleep, ending another successful chapter in their long adventure. Morning sun rises over the coastline as explorers prepare for another journey into the unknown. Forest trails, rivers, hills, and open grasslands provide endless opportunities for discovery. Maps are updated, journals fill with observations, and every expedition reveals new details about the land. Back at camp, sailors repair equipment, organize supplies, and prepare for future voyages. As evening arrives, stories are shared around campfires, while the setting sun paints the ocean with golden light. The stars emerge overhead, waves roll gently onto the shore, and the ship rests peacefully offshore. Through the night, the camp remains quiet beneath the moon and constellations. By dawn, the explorers are ready once again, eager to continue their adventure and uncover whatever mysteries still wait beyond the horizon.